What we have here is a Fasco Great Room. It is a 56-inch fan. It is the largest fan that Fasco ever manufactured. It's 5 blades, ball socket canopy. This is model 960, or technically 960-HG. Now the HG in the model name basically meant high gloss blades. This fan originally came with reversible high gloss walnut to oak blades. However, I surmise that the customer at the showroom did not want high gloss, so they wanted, regular walnut. So that's what it got. I imagine it's the only one they had in stock, and they had the blades, so being a showroom, they bend over backwards to appease the customer and make a sale. So, yeah, regular walnut. And they're solid walnut. I believe the reversible blades are actually plywood. So, get a little closer. Basically, the fan uses an Olde South motor housing. 5-blade flywheel, rubber. It actually is intact, which is, if you know anything about 5-blade Fascos, you know that that's kind of not always the case. Their flywheels aren't very good, at least the rubber ones aren't. So, yeah. Another thing worth noting, Florida light kit. Florida light. This is a Newtone light. It's a basket weave light. They call it the Florida light for whatever reason. I guess whoever designed... I think Florida Man designed this light. It's kind of cool, kind of funky, very weird. The motor on this thing is Fasco's largest motor. It's a 1.4 amp stack motor, very thick. And it's basically the same motor that was in the heat cycler. So, if you know anything about that fan, you know what's coming. So yeah, the fan dates to November of 1987. 86 was the first year for ball socket. It was just a standard normal ball socket canopy, and then they changed to the current design in 87. So, yeah. I need to be stopped. Whoops. Some people think... whatever. Something on my phone. Anyway, so... let's see how this thing performs, shall we? First we see the very wide, not very wide, but very long Fasco blades. So anyway, let's look here also. Notice the cap. Notice the little plug. Yeah, the Olde South was basically a 3-speed version of the Fasco Centennial. The Centennial was variable speed, and these longer switch housings were also used on the Parlor. Yeah, the Parlor fan and Centennial were both variable speed fans. So what did they do with the Olde South when they made the 3-speed? They just capped off the hole. They still used it on the Great Room, because reasons. So theoretically, I could convert this fan to variable speed, and it would look alright. But I'm not going to do that, because I'm not Frankenstein, at least not today. So anyway, let's see what it does. Starting on low speed. Now, as is per usual with Fasco, the low speed is an aesthetic low. Now, during this period, better fans used capacitor-based secondary speeds for medium and low. Okay. Fasco, for whatever stupid reason, decided they wanted to use resistors for the lower speeds. They get very hot, and they have a tendency to fail faster than capacitors do. So, I don't know. They kept this up until the mid-90s when they finally switched to capacitor-based secondary speeds. I mean, they also were using solid wood blades up until the same time, so, I mean, yeah, Fasco didn't exactly get with the times. They liked the old ways. So, where did I find this thing? Boston. Alright, I go up to Boston for another reason. Alright, I had to take a friend to a hospital because reasons. So I was stuck there with them for a while. I was supposed to meet up with the locals. You know who you are. Right? Stuck in the hospital. Was being held up because, you know, they had to wait for all the results to come back for medical clearance and this and that for said friend. But so I knew I wasn't going to make it to any of the habitats in the area. Unfortunately, I also wasn't going to be able to meet up with my friends. Again, you know who you are. So I looked up, you know, salvage places or not habitats. You know, places that operate similar to habitat restores but aren't habitat restores. Yeah, so I found one that was about a mile from the hospital I was at. Get out of the hospital around 4, right? Traffic is a nightmare because Boston. And their streets are laid out like shit because Boston. Yeah, so it took me a little while to get there. I got there within 5 minutes to spare. I go in, right? Look for fans. I see a couple turds hanging from the ceiling, you know, nothing too special. Then I see the little nook where all the lights and fans are kept, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And, yep, this was what was found. The other 3 locals, right, they go to a habitat, they find nothing but crap. I find a place they've never heard of, and I find this. So, I don't know. Anyway, let's shut phone. Let's get to medium. The bearings are slightly hissy. But they're smooth. I think they're just dry, so a bit of gear oil added to the bearings would probably quiet them down, and thick oil has a tendency to help. At least all oil will gel over time and turn to grease, so thicker oil is probably best if you're doing that. So this is medium speed. Moving at a pretty good clip. Keep in mind this is a 56-inch fan. So it's a good medium. Let's go to high now. Now, again, this fan uses the 1.4 amp motor from the heat cycler, which means it's also geared for a high speed. This thing is hauling ass. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's probably doing about 225 RPM on high, and this is a 56-inch fan. Now, you would have thought they would have put the pitch to 15 degrees, but I'm pretty sure the pitch on here is about 13, maybe 14. I haven't measured it yet. Once I do, I'll leave the exact bit in the description, but yeah, this thing hauls ass and it moves at hell of a lot of air. There's a little bit of wobble, but I'm sure that can be balanced out. think it has to do with the blades being slightly warped, if anything. Again, Florida light. The fan had a schoolhouse globe with it, right, and a light kit, 4-inch fitter, right, but let it coast. But the pull chain was crudely replaced, and it, I don't know, just needs work. So I decided to just throw something Newtone on here from the Newtone stash that I received recently. Ordinarily, it would have an ornate switch cap. I wish it did, but hey, I'm not complaining. Yeah, so model 960 was the ornate version, which really looks like the Olde South. 961 was the plain version, which I think was introduced later in the run. So, these lasted until about 1993. Well, there you have it, the beast. A 56-inch Fasco great room from 1987.